Welcome back to another informative and exciting episode of podcast where we cover everything cannabis and hemp. If you haven't subscribed yet to our channel, please do so, as this will help us sustain our channel. And remember to cannabis responsibly at all times. Welcome to another episode of podcast. I'm sitting here with Meneer Kobus from
Grow1Africa.
Please explain to the people who you are and what Grow1Africa is all about.
Awesome, man. Thanks for having me. Yeah, finally. Finally.
Yes.
Yeah, my name is Kobus Schoeman. My company's name is Grow1Africa. We're a service provider in the cannabis space. We currently help 25 cannabis clubs with a self-regulating model. We also have some systems and apps that they use to manage their cultivation and manage the clubs. Then we're also involved with quite a few hemp permit holders, seeing how we can bridge the gap between the adult use space and the more industrial side of it. So yeah, all-round cannapreneur.
Okay then. And so can you just explain, because recently there was an article that came out talking about the grow clubs.
Yeah.
Does that affect Grow1Africa at all?
You're referring to the judgment on the Haze Club,
Yes,
that one?
yes.
Yeah. Well, affect us, yes, it just gives us more fuel for our fire.
Okay.
It just highlighted again, we've been waiting 4 years now for legislation after the Concord ruling.
Yeah.
It definitely brought the community closer together. It sparked quite a bit of emotion, if I can put it lightly.
Yeah.
There was also a very successful mass action that happened that we did across the country. And we got the the result we were looking for. We had feedback from the presidency saying that they are looking at interim measures, that they are working with some of the people that were part of the mass protest as well to implement these interim measures. So yeah, I think all it highlighted for us is the conundrum we find ourselves in,
Yeah,
that we want to build this industry. Our president has unlocked it, and I think in 3 State of the Nation addresses for us. And here we still sit.
Nothing has happened.
You see. Well, not nothing. A lot has happened, but a lot more could have happened from government side,
But it feels like nothing has happened, truth be told.
Sure.
It really does feel like nothing has happened.
Well, legislatively, nothing has happened, right? I mean, the inputs on the bill as well did it all in reverse, you know. So with the bill sitting in front of the House of the Traditional Leaders now, I hope that we get some sanity, where people start giving true inputs into the bill.
Yeah.
So that we can have proper overarching legislation. Because whether we take this bill forward or whether we just start from scratch and we do proper legislation, it's going to take the same amount of time, So, yeah, no, I really hope the judgment just highlighted for everybody, that we need to move now. But luckily there is movement happening. We're sitting here today at an event where we've got a lot of role players that are making things happen. So yeah, I'm very positive, like always. Yeah.
Okay. Please explain what you've been doing. I know you just recently came back from Zimbabwe.
Yeah, I'm pretty much all over the show, traveling not just between the clubs and the permit holders, but I was asked to come and moderate a conference in Zimbabwe last week, and it was all about unlocking the potential of African plants with psychedelic plants taking the forefront, and then with a big focus on cannabis at the moment because it's opening up like it is. So the idea with the Zim is, we're always acting on a consultancy basis just by sharing the knowledge that we've picked up so far. Because we've got track and traceability of the adult use market for the last 2.5 years, we can share this data with them. We can kind of show them what the trends are. So basically Zimbabwe is where we were 2 years ago legislatively. So why not just fast forward them? And we didn't start the company and call it Grow1 South Africa. So it's now time to move into the African countries.
Yeah.
That being said, we all grew up on Swazi, so Swaziland won't be left behind, as won't Lesotho. And we're really looking for a sustainable model to include all of our SADC countries, if you want to call it that. So very positive things happening. Even the academics are coming to the party. We've got strategic partners at universities in Zimbabwe now, strategic partners within the agriculture sphere. And yeah, without saying too much, you can definitely come and look at the new Grow1Africa office in Zimbabwe before the end of this year. I'm very sure about that. Yeah.
So quickly. Oh wow.
Definitely.
Impressive.
It's time to move, It's time to move. At the same time, we actively involved in this side. Just before the Zimbabwe trip, we had the Northwest Cannabis Lekgotla, which was really
I missed that.
empowering.
I'm so disappointed I missed that.
You know what? It was such a flippin' eye-opener for me.
Yeah.
To see how efficiently a community of passionate people can get together and how they all can give their inputs. Just the whole setup of the Lekgotla, where it doesn't matter what your role in the community is, your voice is heard.
Yeah.
And that was a stunning way for me to see how to approach it. And I think if we approached it this way from the beginning, the whole overarching legislation, we would have been moving by now. But that being said, out of things like the Lekgotla, we now are working closely with the universities. We're working closely with the Department of Agriculture. One that I'm very excited about, and a partnership that I've been longing for a long time, is the Indigenous Knowledge System Center.
I was about to ask you about that, yes.
Because I always say the solution isn't the problem, right?
Yeah.
So if we just focus on our problems a little bit, it's because we don't, give enough attention to our indigenous knowledge.
Yeah.
And indigenous knowledge, I'm just as African as the next person. You know what I'm saying? Indigenous knowledge that originates from our continent. We are people of the soil. The way that we cultivate things, the way that we harvest things, the way that we make our home remedies. These things have been in our traditions for centuries and generations. And I think it's our role and our purpose to now protect them by not just studying them, documenting it, and giving it back to the people it belongs to. And that goes for everything from our land races, from the way that we grow these land races. And it's not just ganja, this is literally the spearhead. It's our, it was so nice in Zimbabwe. If you have a meal and they serve you tamarind straight from the tree, or they serve you dates straight from the date palm, or small millet grain as part of your lunch,
That's beautiful. Fresh.
It's stunning, fresh, straight from there.
Yeah.
Now, if we get into that mindset where we see those are the kind of things that Africa needs to put on the forefront as a healthy, sustainable export and a way for us to uplift ourselves, then I think people will start understanding the IKS and why it is so important,
Yeah.
So I'm super excited for today's session. The idea is to...
If it does happen.
It will happen. It will happen. IKS, we're obviously starting on the starting time, Africa time,
Africa time, yeah.
I've seen the last little bit, good things come to those who wait. So in the meantime, we can at least have fruitful conversations like this.
Yeah, yeah.
The stunning thing that I think that can come out of this, is just the mass collaboration. It's amazing to see the groups of people that are brought together, and how people are seeing each other eye to eye, and our communities are literally taking hands and uplifting each other. So today's focus is also on permaculture, and how do we use permaculture. Now, permaculture stands for permanent culture, and that's what we're trying to accomplish, not just agriculture, how to grow something, how to make it really sustainable. And the session will focus on that, to see how do we bring all these different entities together. The service providers, the social clubs, the growers, the universities, IKS, all these role players. And students, there's even a couple of students coming. And basically using this permaculture flower, just focus on each of the sectors so that we can create a sustainable design.
I get what you're saying.
So it's going to be very exciting. The seeds have been planted. I can tell the other provinces, the Northwest is on fire. These guys are talking hubs, and I've got a whole hub and spoke model where we're sitting today. I'm seeing as where the joint moved to today is a new clubhouse for them. It's brand new. They're going to start today with their planning. So decided not to do it top down, bring everybody in, get their inputs, where we're going to do what. So, I think to see that the mindset is there where everybody is trying to build it up from grassroots is what's giving me hope. People are really, it's going to be sustainable. People are making it work.
That's good. Now, you just mentioned that the joint is here and they're opening the new club, and there's this big cloud, dark cloud hanging over the what you call this Grow1Africa module, because of what the what you call this thing?
The haze clubs.
Yeah, the haze club. So what does that now mean? Does this mean that you guys are just moving forward even though there's an issue with it, or you are finding ways to navigate around it?
Yeah, you see, again, it's very important to understand that the haze club judgment was based on what they did, right?
Okay,
and
so you guys
their
are not
model.
affected.
We did a full report on that. Obviously, it highlighted that there is no clear legislation at this point, right? That's as simple as that. But we are very confident that in our interpretation of the law, we are ticking each and every single box. The only dark cloud hanging over any of our clubs will be a smoke cloud at this point. And we're just pushing forward. We are bona fide, responsible citizens. We are contributing to the fiscus through taxes. There's in the 2.5 years, like I said, I think it's 25 clubs, 22 to 25, depending on when you measure. There's about 180 cultivators and processors that grow. That there's between 1,000 and 2,000 job opportunities that are created monthly.
Okay.
So we are full steam ahead to the point where we're trying to be the solution for these interim measures. So I hope today's session is one more of those sessions that brings us closer to permanent legislation. But for the interim, we're just going to keep on doing what we've always done.
Yeah.
Just doing it better every day.
And do you have any black people who own their own social cannabis clubs?
At the moment, I'll have to double check. I don't count people according to what they look like, so I'll have to go and check in my books. I know I've dealt with a lot of people of color that have applied. Yeah, definitely. And that's across the range. We operate in all 9 provinces. We deal with everybody from all walks of life. So I'd lie if I say I know, but I can definitely come back to you on that.
Okay. Yeah. And are you planning ever of taking this concept into the rural areas?
Definitely.
Okay.
You see, the massive barrier to entry at this point is the rules and regulations we set for ourselves. Because government doesn't give us legislation to work with. We had to completely over-regulate, right? Completely over-regulating means that we do a non-profit company with its directors and committees. So the to-do list just became so long that became the barrier to entry, just to understand the model, first of all. Luckily, we're at a point now where we can start looking at bigger clubs like this as a hub and where satellites can happen from. That's why I'm so excited about projects like Nongo's Joint in Zeerust, because that's exactly what it's focused on. The club should be the information hub. It should be the awareness center and the place where stigma gets broken. And from there is where the opportunity lies to roll it out into more rural areas. I think with this, that we're talking to the Zimbabwean Agricultural Department as well, and the narrative that has changed in the last 6 months, where we're referring to it as a village, should give you an idea that we're really trying to incorporate everybody. It would have been a lot simpler if we had the legislation, because that just unlocks so many things, in terms of funding instruments and all that, because at the moment it's the private sector that has to build this and go and create the awareness. So even while I'm driving to go and present something to the Department of Agriculture, I stand the risk of getting arrested with the cannabis that I'm transporting there. Okay, while I'm paying for my own way to get there. You know what I'm saying? So it makes it very difficult to roll it out, especially into rural areas. But I'm super excited about the partnerships with the universities. It just gives us more capacity, and it gives us more reach. So that is where we're going as soon as we can.
Congratulations, by the way.
Thank you very much.
That's a big move. I'm quite excited on that venture with the universities. That's a very, very big move. And I know a lot of people that I've come across who are interested in actually developing their own social cannabis clubs, And I've been saying to them, let me first have a conversation with Kobus and see if I cannot share his contacts, so that you can be able to guide them as to how to do that, in terms of costing, the lawyer and everything, because I know everything has to be by the book. And the know-how of doing that.
But all that information is open source. We have that freely available to everyone. The best is to make contact with us through our website, Grow1.Africa. On there's frequently asked questions. There's also a to-do list, how to open a club. We do have a team. Vanessa heads up that team to send out correspondence and stuff. And yeah, it's literally a to-do list. If you have that, you can go and do this 100% on your own. You don't even need Grow1Africa, right?
Okay.
And that's the point. What we sell as a service is the programs and the model. So if you want to make use of our services, you can. But the information of how to do it is freely available.
Is it expensive to start your own?
You know what?
cannabis club?
The direct costs associated with it is mostly what you spend on the physical club, right? So if you have to register a non-profit company, 1,000 rand. You know, if you can do it yourself, it's free. You know, because then you can do it on CRPC.
Yeah, I know.
You check. So I'm not that clever, so I have to pay a lot of people to do all these things. So your constitutional framework, which we also help with a template for what your constitution should look like. If you get that set up by a lawyer, it might cost you 5,000 rand, right? So let's say you start from scratch. Then well, those are the first fixed costs. That's what you need in terms of the structure. But what most people forget is, you know, it's an ongoing thing. So we give guys a calculator so they can work out their first year worth of expenses to see what am I now going to spend on shop fitting? What do I have to spend on rent? What do I have to do for salaries? You know. But in terms of direct setup costs, I'm pretty sure you can do it for under 10,000 rand. You know, and that's if you make use of people to do all the paperwork and everything for you. It could be a little bit cheaper if you do it yourself. So. Yes, you know, it's money, but if it's starting a business, then it's not a lot of money.
I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
I get what you're saying. And you heard Meneer Kobus, if you guys want more
I'm somewhat just Kobus, ne? Just Kobus. Yo.
If you want more information, you just go to their website. Just give it to them again.
The website is Grow1.Africa.
Grow1.Africa. And I thank you so much for tuning in. And please do remember to cannabis responsibly at all times.
Thank you, Mo.
Thank you.
Yes, finally.
Yeah, finally. Thank you so much for watching. Please don't forget to hit that subscribe, like, and share buttons below. We would also appreciate your comments. And remember to cannabis responsibly at all times.